This is our seventh and final week looking at a verse, or in this case, this week, 2 verses in Romans in the Greek and comparing it to an English Bible translation. This week we will be looking at the Christian Standard Bible, the CSB, which you may know is a revision, extensive revision of the Holman Christian Standard Bible. The CSB is published by Lifeway. It's very similar to the NIV, maybe a little more formally equivalent, sort of in between the ESV and the NIV. Again, a wonderful translation. We should be grateful. We have so many excellent English Bible translations. Let me first read the English translation, then we'll read the Greek and sort of compare them. So God presented him, obviously referring to Jesus here, as the mercy seat. That wording may throw you off there a little bit. As the mercy seat by his blood, through faith, to demonstrate his righteousness, because in his restraint God passed over the sins previously committed. God presented him, again Jesus, to demonstrate his righteousness at the present time, so that he would be righteous and declare righteous the one who has faith in Jesus. I'll just quickly read the Greek here. Hon pra etheta ha theas hilasterian, diates pisteos into autu haimati, eis indexen tes dikaiasunes autu, diatein parisenton pragegananton. Let me say that one more time. Pragegananton. It's a mouthful, isn't it, with all those gammas. Pragegananton. Hamartematon, inte anache tu theu, prostain indexen tes dikasunes autu, into nun chairo, esta enai autan dikaian, kai dikaiunta, tan ek pistos Jesu. Okay, so we're going to quickly translate through the Greek and compare whom God set forth. And here's a double accusative. And what did God set him forth as? As a propitiation, hilasterion. And this is the word, yes, that's used to translate the mercy seat in the Septuagint. So there's a question: should this be translated as mercy seat? The top of the Ark of the Covenant, where blood was sprinkled once a year on the Day of Atonement, translated in some translations there as mercy seat. So is that nuance intended? And so should we render it that way in English? My colleague, Tom Schreiner, I believe he's the one who is the editor or translator of Romans here, and he contends for that in his Romans commentary. Whom God set forth as the propitiation through faith in his blood for a demonstration of his righteousness because of the passing over of the formerly committed sins in the forbearance of God, and for the demonstration of his righteousness in the now time, so that he would be both just and justifier of the one who has faith in Jesus. Now, in addition to the debate about whether hilasterion should be propitiation or expiation or mercy seat, that's a big question. And I think even if mercy seat is the right nuance, it is a valid question as to whether 90% of English readers are going to pick up on what's going on there, right? Will they hear the echo of the Old Testament text as this rendering is intended to bring? Another thing we'll point out, we pointed this out in an earlier verse, that in translating pistos Jesu here is, here's the article that substantizes that whole prepositional phrase, the one who has faith in Jesus. In rendering it this way, we are making an interpretive decision that Jesu is an objective genitive. I think it's the right decision, but we are, cutting out the pistis Christou debate. And if you look at for example, the Net Bible translation, it's going to translate this about as the faithfulness of Jesus, right? Is Christou here, or in this case it's Jesu, is Jesu an objective genitive, faith in Jesus, or is it the subjective genitive, Jesus is faithful? These little weekend videos are to remind us that when we read an English translation, and we have some wonderful English translations, we have an embarrassing wealth of English translations, we are still reading a translation. And Paul wrote Greek words, not English words. And there are all kinds of interpretive decisions that have been made in rendering that Greek into the English. And if you're going to be reading the Bible, as teaching the Bible as a pastor or a Sunday school teacher, even reading the Bible for your own personal edification, don't you want to be reading the words, the inspired words of the Apostle Paul, rather than someone else's interpretation of him? So that's my challenge to you, my reminder to you. Be in the Greek text for yourself and for others.